Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be covering the new Gnosis premium character, Gnosis Viella. I gotta say, I really love her kit. I love the look of it. I love a lot of what she has to offer. I've seen a little bit of what she can do in our Even Mains Discord. We talked a lot about Gnosis Viella, and we talked a lot about what we can do for her, like gear wise. The thing I want to talk about though is we're gonna basically we're gonna build her, and a lot of the time I would normally be like, oh, I'm going to build them ahead of time and then just talk about them. I'm actually going to build her right now with you guys. So you guys can see my thought process as I build the character, and I'm hoping that that might help you guys kind of figure out what that typically looks like. So I'm hoping that it helps. I'm hoping that it's a little bit different, and I'm hoping that it helps. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to get her to max level. First thing you should always do. So max level, upgrade all. Boom. Upgrade huge. We're going to enhance all of her skills all around because of course we should. You know, it's a bad idea not to. The only one that might be okay not to is the skill chain. And the only reason why is because it doesn't really change a whole lot. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to max out her trust real fast. And that's just because we like getting the EE, Innate Malice. So we're going to get Innate Malice, and we're going to put that on immediately. It gives us some extra accuracy to light, and then when hit, Corrosive Poison +2, turn to all enemies, activated once only 2 turns, ignores resilience. And then at max out, she ignores 30% of the target's defense when she attacks, which is pretty dope. I think it's at least pretty dope. She is going to play a little bit differently, and I'm excited to get into that with you guys. So the first things first that I want to cover is we're going to talk about weapons. So the first thing about weapons is, realistically, if you have a Briarios's Recklessness, whatever the fuck it's called, that is typically your best bet. Unfortunately, because I've been away from the game, I do not have one. So, realistically, a Surefire Javelin or a Violent Sledgehammer is going to be your best bet. And I don't think I have one. I have a Surefire Javelin, but I'd rather have a Violent Sledgehammer if I'm going to be totally honest. So, we're going to quickly go run and we're going to make one. We're going to make a Violent Sledgehammer really fast, just so I have one. Is it this one? Yes it is. Okay. We want health percent. I probably can get it in 5, I think. My inventory's full! What do you mean my inventory's full? Oh. This would do it. Shit! Sure. That will just make my life a little bit easier in the future. I don't understand why they actually have a cap on that. That is kind of annoying. Health percent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I should realistically be able to get a Violent Sledgehammer in one of these 5. I think. Wow, I was really unlucky. Strike in. This is only going to suck a lot, because I might not have enough gold. There's some thumping knuckle dusters. I actually wanted the Violent Sledgehammer, that's right. I already forgot. See, I already forgot. Violent Sledgehammer. There we go. Perfect. So we got her a weapon. That's good. Violent Sledgehammer. Just because I don't have the Briaros's or whatever the fuck it's called. I'm so bad at pronunciation. You guys know this. If you go back and you like listen to some of my old videos that I've done like a while ago, you'll notice that my fucking pronunciation is awful. Like, genuinely, it is horrendous. I don't actually like using the blue hammers. I like using the green hammers for gear now because it's easy to convert the blue hammers to red ones when you're doing, like, gear upgrades. I just want to see what we're going to get out of this. Wow, we have a maxed out bottom? That's actually kind of crazy. That's actually huge. Because this is actually a super good spread. So we're actually going to just crank this out right now and just be done with it. Honestly, if we can get this bottom one to become like speed. If we can just get this bottom one to become speed. Like I said, if we can just get this bottom one to be... If we can just get this bottom one to become speed... I'm going to scream. There we go. That's at least decent. I'll take it for now. This is the rough draft of her build. It will all be min-maxed as we go along. It will be min-maxed as we go through it after I've done the generic build of it all. So this one, for the accessory, I have here on my notes, that you realistically want the Briareos' Ambition. Once again, I probably don't have one of those. I do not. The next thing is you realistically want a Death's Hold. You want Death's Hold with realistically pen percent or health percent. So all of her skills are going to scale off of her HP. I actually just realized I skipped a fucking step, and I apologize. I got so excited that I wanted to just get straight into it. I'm going to read her skills for you guys. So her S1 attacks the enemy and has a 100% chance to inflict corrosive poison for 2 turns if the target is a boss. Additionally, inflicts corrosive poison for 2 turns before attacking. And then this skill's damage dealt increases proportional to the caster's max health instead of attack. So her attack stat is basically worthless. We don't give a flying fuck about her attack stat. All of her damage is going to be coming from her HP. So, and then her corrosive poison reduces all priority increases by 20% and deals damage proportional to the caster's max HP at the start of the turn. Remove when the caster dies. So if she exits the battlefield, then she'll die. Surging Domain. The poison inflicted by the caster is changed to corrosive poison, which deals damage proportional to max health instead of attack. Attacks the enemy and has a 100% chance to inflict stun for 1 turn. If the target is a boss, additionally inflicts corrosive poison for 2 turns. Again, scales by HP instead of attack. So, I'm not exactly sure why she has a stun built into the kit, but I'm not going to complain. Cocoon of Rebirth removes 1 buff from all enemies with a 100% chance, attacks all enemies, and gains an extra turn. After attacking, grants Bane's Domain to all allies and enemy mages for 2 turns. Bane's Domain. Each target affected by Bane's Domain receives the following effects. Allies get a minus 30% received final damage, so all of your team is going to take 30% less damage. Gnosis Viella is going to get 30% extra defense, and also 30% received final damage, so the same damage mitigation. All your enemies are going to get minus 50% attack, and when a turn is gained, Gnosis Veilla's priority is going to go up by 20%. So she has a way to DR by 30%, increase her own defense by 30%, and nuke your enemy's attack. Now, mind you, she also gets an extra turn, so you can Cocoon of Rebirth and then Surging Domain immediately to inflict the stun effect. Like, it's kind of nice. I love the kit. So, back to what we were doing. Death's Hold, Briareos' Ambition. Realistically, you want HP or Penetration. I think I'm debating on what I want her to be for me. Because I have a 6% Death's Hold right here. I have a Penetration Death's Hold with 6% health, which isn't too bad. And it's not a bad way to increase her pen, which is going to give her more damage but less survivability, but it's not going to, I don't think it's going to affect all that much. So I think the penetration is going to be more beneficial than the extra HP. At least the way I'm thinking of it. Could you, like, max out attack or HP? That'd be great. I mean, it's not a bad set of rolls, so I'm just gonna do that. Fuck it. I probably won't mess with that right now. The next thing I want to talk about is I want to talk about her gear sets. So she has a couple different, at least in my opinion, she has a couple different ones that could be beneficial. Excuse me. Starting with, you can totally run her full penetration gear. If you run her full penetration gear with a high health stat, you can probably get some pretty nutty damage. Because, I mean, the life set isn't too bad. I mean, you get an extra 60% HP, which, again, is not anything to scoff at all. But you get 72% health from just the helmet alone, you know? So it's like adding that extra bit of health onto her. Like, you could make her hella tanky. But I don't know how much it's really going to change her scaling of it. Because penetration tends to be better for skill damage, but if you're worried about poison damage, you would want life gear. You can also do the thing where you do two. You could do like penetration and life, which I'm thinking I might end up actually doing the 2 and the 2 penetration and 2 life. And that's just because I think it might be more beneficial to her kit being that way than it would be any other way. The thing I run into is I don't believe I have a lot of penetration gear, and the main reason why is because I've been super lazy and not killed that boss yet. So I probably don't have probably have like doo-doo for penetration gear. This is pretty terrible. That's not too bad because of the 9 speed, but this one's again not too, but that's also that. So of these two options, I'd probably realistically want to go with this one. I'm going to try to do a full set of penetration gear if I can. I would rather do a full set of pen gear, but if I don't have full set of pen gear, I might just do 50-50. And that's just because it's overall just going to be preference at the end of the day. Excuse me. Let's see. You got a good bit of health on that. Huh, that's a lot of attack. Let's take a look. I know I have a lot of like junk gear that I've just been holding on to for no reason. And it's just, I have such a hard time, like my brain is just like, I don't want to go through this. So then I don't. Like an idiot. So then I basically just refuse to go through any of this gear. Even though I probably should. I'd rather take this one and try to switch the resilience into HP. So if I had some penetration boots, we'll totally do a full set of penetration gear right now. Was that penetration gear at the top? No, that's patience. My brain's playing tricks on me. My brain's playing tricks on me. Let's see. Penetration boots. I have one thing of penetration boots. Oh, it's actually not too bad, all things considering. So, we actually have some pretty decent options for gear. Not perfect, don't get me wrong. This is by no way, shape, or form like perfect gear or anything. It's just, it's pretty good, all things considering. I would love to see, oh my god. Oh my fucking god. What the fuck? That was awful. Okay. I'm gonna pretend that didn't happen. And I'm just gonna erase that from my memory. Now, you know what'd be really funny is if it did it again. Okay. Wait, no, can I have some health? Thank you. Dear Lord. I grabbed ones that didn't necessarily have a lot of health because I was like, oh, I only need like a little bit of health investment. And now it's like, but what if we give you none? Go fuck you. So, that's fun. If you could max out that speed, that would be amazing. Well, I'll take it. I'm not going to complain too much. It's not a bad one. This isn't too bad. Damn. I'm still kind of shook on that one. I'm not going to lie. I'm feeling a little shook. I'll take it. That speed is awful, but I'll take it. So, I could do the breakthroughs on it all. I guess we might as well. It's not like we're realistically gonna lose out on anything. I can just go make some penetration gloves really fast. I'll go make 4 penetration gloves. If I had eyeballs, that would be great. If only I had a brain. There we go. So, that was really unfortunate. Oh, great. I'm out of fucking money. Of course I am! I guess I'll just wrap this up then. Where is she in my list now? There she... Oh, no, that's Viella. There she is. Gnosis Viella. Alrighty. So, I'm going to just give us a little bit of a summary now. Just kind of talking about overall Gnosis Viella, what she does very well as a whole. And we're just going to go from there. Alright. So, first things first. She is fairly confident in any PvE content. She does a pretty good job, especially against single target bosses. She does a fantastic job of dealing with them, being able to slow them down, to stun them. Basically anything that doesn't have an immunity to what she does as part of her kit is pretty solid. Again, not perfect. She doesn't excel perfectly. There's obviously some things that she doesn't do too well. Like, I don't think she's very good against Sacred Guardian. I think she kind of gets blown out of the water. I think against Calamari, she also gets blown out of the water. But your traditional PvE bosses, she does pretty well on. I believe her kit was mostly designed for PvP due to the damage scaling and the damage reduction. And I believe, honestly, she was probably, excuse me, more so designed to try to help deal with Demiurge Luna. I don't believe you could do that at 3 stars with Gnosis Viella, especially because you'll be missing out on the Bane's Domain immediately, which is what you need. You want the Bane's Domain immediately, so realistically for PvP, you absolutely need her at 4 stars for the Bane's Domain to proc immediately. It would be nice to get her to 5 stars for PvP. I do not think you need her at 6 stars for PvP at all. I genuinely don't think that. The only thing I could possibly see you wanting this for is Demiurge Aste dying and coming back. If you're at 6 stars, you can kill Demi Aste and she won't come back because you won't trigger the agile response of her res. However, you do not need her 6 stars for that. PvP, you want 4-star minimum, 5 stars is a bonus, 6 stars realistically. I only think you're going to need 6 stars if you're dealing with Demiurge Aste. If you disagree with any of that, please let me know down in the comments and we'll talk about it. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm just talking out my ass. I have no idea. On top of that, her gear set Violent Sledgehammer is nice because it's just damage dealt proportional to her missing health, and everything scales off of her health anyways. So you're just going to increase the damage. She's really bulky, so you're going to be taking that damage, and you'll be able to hit back even harder because it doesn't increase your attack, it increases your damage dealt. So, and then Death's Hold is just going to flat increase your penetration on top of what she already gets. So you're just going to be able to just flat out ignore their defense altogether. And then the penetration set is just cherry on top when it comes to penetration, because you'll see if you have it completely maxed out, that's his 28% penetration plus 36 plus her natural, if you max out her EE, you get the 30%. So it's a lot of damage, a lot of defense you just get to straight up ignore, which is super, super nice. It's always a good thing when you can try to get that penetration as close to you can as 0. She does pair really, really well with Maxwell in any PvE activity at all, because they just basically sit next to each other and everything dies. It's quite funny. I've seen a couple clips in Eva mains, and it's frankly hilarious. The thing I want to briefly mention is if you have the Brarios' gear, they're better than this gear on the weapon and the accessory. Just know that that is a serious commitment to get that gear, because the chances of you actually getting that gear that's decent rolls is going to be dog water, only because it's so hard to get still. I know they did a change in which they made it easier. It's still really hard to get it. And frankly, to me, for this character, I don't think it's really worth it, only because I have a gut feeling that they're going to release a new premium unit on the 3-year anniversary that I'm going to go apeshit for. I'm crossing my fingers we get a good 3-year anniversary premium unit, and I'm just going to be saving up for the next 6 months until that happens. That way I can maybe get her to 6 stars, because I don't know if you guys know, I blew almost 25,000 ether, and I only got this bitch at 3 stars. Wanted to frickin' cry. So, Gnosis Viella, great character. I think for PvP, she's going to do very well. However, we have noticed Gnosis Beth is making a comeback. Gnosis Beth does a very good job about dealing with Viella, and it's because it nukes her attack, but the bleed damage is fixed, and so it doesn't technically apply. So just beware of Gnosis Beth making a comeback as well, with Gnosis Veilla's kind of return. You'll kind of see this triangle of, if you're fighting against a Gnosis Beth, you bring Demiurge Luna to just nuke the board. If you see Demiurge Luna, you bring Gnosis Viella. If you see Gnosis Viella, you bring Gnosis Beth. It's kind of this triangle thing that they have going on between those three. And I think for the most part, that's kind of how it's working. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below if you disagree. I'm going to actually end this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed building this character with me. I hope you guys found it as enjoyable as I did. I tried doing something a little bit new, and I hope you guys didn't think it too cheesy. A lot of times I just kind of read like a robot, and I just talk out my ass and just kind of, this is what you do. Like, I have the one answer for everything, but there are so many different things you can do and so many different gear sets that are better in certain scenarios that this is just kind of the general, this is going to be the average gear set that you find other than a few niches. So, again, if you're trying to cover a specific niche, you probably are going to need a little bit of a different gear set. So with that being said, I'm going to leave this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.